Welcome back to the workshop. Thanks so much for joining us here once again for another one of our vloggy sort of videos to do with our little Suzuki Sidekick, the lady in red. In the previous little clips we showed you where we received the vehicle, cleaned it all up, put a new steering shaft in it, and a few other things, I think. There's a whole lot left to do with this, so we've got lots of videos to come. But before we do anything specifically for the lady in red herself, what we need to do is use her as a jig to build some bumpers on. I do build bumpers pretty frequently for these vehicles, both two-door and four-door. And I have a jig for the two-door front bumpers and the two-door rear bumpers. I have a pretty good setup where I don't need to have the vehicle in-house in order to design those bumpers. But for the four doors, I don't have it quite as dialed in. So it's really handy having the lady in red here so that we can use her as a jig to build some of these bumpers on. So anyway, what we need to do first is remove the ugly stock plastic bumpers and get started with creating some mounts to place my bumpers onto the vehicle with. So Judy has kindly joined me on her day off.
Hello, I'm back.
Yes, she is back. And we're gonna work together to get these bumpers off and potentially get one on there as well today, maybe get a start on it at least. So this will be a learning experience for Judy. She doesn't have a ton of mechanical experience, but she's eager to learn, so that's kind of cool. I think we're in bad light here. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So yeah, eager to learn, and as we go through it, you can kind of get an idea of how the bumpers are removed from these vehicles as well, and how we strengthen the mounts to be able to add some off-road bumpers that you can trust to use for recovery purposes. We won't be using factory mounts, I can promise you that much. So here's some of the front bumpers that I have already put together in my jig. My jig is right there. And it works reasonably well. It's not perfect. I wind up having to make some slight adjustments to the bumpers once they come out of the jig, to be honest. But these are all perfected and ready for full weld. A couple of them have tow bar mount holes drilled through. Those are for my own tow bar that I offer, and these ones are for our customers' aftermarket tow bar. And then this one has no tow bar bolts drilled through it because it's getting some shackle mount recovery points. But anyway, at least one of these is going to be jigged up on the lady in red, possibly two. If it's two, it's because she actually gets to keep one for herself. Yay! That would be a nice thing.
Yes, indeed.
Start dressing this thing up. But the rears, I've got to build one rear on this one, and that one is already sold. And then I've got the other two rear bumpers, which I have in parts over here, already sold as well. So there'll be 3 rear bumpers going out, but only one built on this vehicle. And at least one front bumper, probably 2. So.
Oh, I'm excited to see Darin's product on this vehicle finally.
Yeah.
This is looking quite painful, so.
Yeah, pretty shabby.
Yes.
So not.
This is a very exciting day, actually.
The beginning of the visual transformation, other than the good cleanup that you already did.
Yes, yes, the clean has happened. Now we want to transform her.
All right, so we'll get started pulling off the front bumper. I turned the vehicle around so the front was in the decent light so that we're not in big shadows. And hopefully we can get that off nice and easy. I don't think there's any modifications behind the bumper, although there was a tow bar on this thing initially, as you will have seen when it arrived. And I don't remember if that incorporated any modifications that would make it challenging to get the front bumper off. I don't think so, but we'll find out.
No, I was just asking if this was also going to be removed with the bumper.
And I was saying that I don't remember. I think so. With the 2 doors, with either the 2-door or the 4-door, the grille has to come out, and I don't remember which one it is. Okay. So we'll find out once we get it up on the hoist and start pulling some bolts. But that's a good point. And then Judy also asked if I can kind of replace or rebuild something to go around here. And I've had a few customers ask me that, if I could build kind of a custom grill. The amount of work for me to create something that would actually look good and work in there would just be phenomenal. So no, I just get a new grill. Okay. They're available at the Wreckers, and that's where we will find one. Yeah. Or on our Suzuki group online.
Okay.
Somebody will sell us one.
Yes, because this is looking a little painful.
Yeah, it looks super shabby and ugly, and it's missing its badge. So we'll replace that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's get this thing on the hoist.
Okay.
So,
Well, there's one bolt here. One's missing on the other side. Looks like that's holding it.
I am pretty sure that this is the one where you need to remove the grill. Turns out you do need to remove the grill.
She is full of surprises. There she goes.
There she goes. Okay, so now what we need to do is remove, if I remember correctly, is remove the cover from the bumper itself, which means taking all of these out, which are almost certain to break, but that's totally fine. So what we're going to do is grab an impact gun. So instead of, you know, using our own muscles to do that, we can just blap, 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 and they should just all break off.
Beautiful.
And then we'll pull a few off the bottom. The plastic piece should come off, and then we can see what we need to do to remove the actual steel bumper.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that's the trigger. Woo.
I think
That feels powerful.
Yeah, reasonably. And that's off, and then there's 3 stages for on. So you're going off, so you can just start tearing them off. I'll lower it down a bit for you so it's easier.
Okay. Never done this before.
Okay, let her rip, dear.
Is that supposed to fit? Oh, yeah. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh, it actually
That's
came
fun.
out. Nice one.
I like it. Something happened on this.
You broke it. Nice one. Okay. Nothing wrong with breaking the bolts in this application.
Yikes.
So now it's all free.
Woo! Yikes. I mean, we could probably almost break it right off.
There we go.
There you go. The end. I need a break.
Well done, my dear.
Thank you.
Good work. And now we're going to go ahead and remove the metal bumper itself, which is just, I think, 4 12mm heads. There, and I think there's a couple up in behind the bumper up here, if I can remember correctly. Okay, there we go.
Woo.
So those were challenging, but these are the last 2. And that is that.
Oh, that was smooth. Beautiful. Should give this thing a good rinse.
And this is not a stock radiator. This is, or if it is, it's been reconfigured as far as what it sits on. It's got some crummy little blocks here, one of which has a nut and bolt stuck through it for some reason. And it's very unsecured, I should say, and needs either replacement or I got to figure out a better way to do these mounts. But the bumper is off, and now we can look at creating mounts for the aftermarket bumper, the Balmer Fab bumper.
Yes.
Good old dog. So one thing that I should have mentioned before we get onto the back bumper is that no damage was discovered on these frame horns or on the cross member there underneath. And that's really important because it's nice to have a really straight and true setup to work with to create the bumpers on. Had these been bent and warped, it'd be really tough for me to use this as a jig to build bumpers on to then send out to another customer's vehicle, because of course their vehicle hopefully wouldn't be bent and warped. So we need a straight vehicle to build bumpers on, and a straight vehicle is what we have. So happy about that. Good old Jerry. This is my shop dog, Jerry. He's not just a shop dog. He comes home and everywhere else with me. He is coming up on 10 or 12 years old now, and he is a rescue from Taiwan, a street dog there. He is probably mostly Formosan mountain dog. I think that's the main breed in Taiwan, and he's probably mixed with a few other breeds. And he has some special issues to do with his schnoz and his breathing and stuff like that, which maybe we'll go over one day if anybody's interested. Good old dog. Well, we've stopped back in on a Sunday just for you so that we could do a little video and show you some of the more recent work that has been done to the lady in red, and give you a little tour around the shop again and show you some of the other projects that I have been working on over the past month or so. And Judy is here joining me for that.
Hi.
Always nice to have us together in the vlogs, I would think.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I put a couple of bumpers on the Suzuki, a front and a rear. The rear is not complete yet. The front virtually is. In terms of what you'll see, it's complete. Just in behind, the mounts need to be fully welded yet and gusseted. But the front bumper's done, and it's the first bumper that I've used the lady in red to act as a mock-up for, act as a jig for. And that's why she was kind of originally purchased, is so that I had something to build my bumpers on, as well as something for us to eventually wheel and have some fun with together.
Mm-hmm.
So a front has been built, a rear has been built. I'm going to finish the swing arm this week coming up, and they will then go to a customer in Gibsons, which is on the Sunshine Coast here in BC, an absolutely gorgeous part of the province, and one that I would love to live in.
Yes.
And then after that, maybe we'll build a couple more bumpers for the lady in red to have for her very own. That would be nice. When I mount these bumpers, they require some modifications to the vehicle frame in order to make them strong enough for me to be confident in them in recovery purposes and towing purposes, flat towing by the front bumper and towing using the rear bumper because it has a receiver in it. So anyway, where was I with that? Oh yeah. So anyway, the vehicle has been modified a little bit, and I would have shown you that in the vlog, but it's really not a very vloggy thing to show. I don't want to kind of go through all the little details and the build ins and outs in the vlog, because that's what the build videos are for. So if you want to see that kind of work, there are definitely videos already out for that. In fact, they are my very first and second videos, I think. So if you go back, you'll see the Ultimate Hunting Buggy. There's a series on that, and there's a front bumper build, there's a rear bumper build, and they include those vehicle mods. So if you want to see how the bumpers are built and how the vehicle is modded to accept them, then you can go and check that out. I wish very much I could say it's just up here, but I don't know how you do that. Yeah, I don't know how you put a video up on the screen like that. Maybe somebody could tell me in the comments, or maybe I don't have enough subscribers yet, and it's one of those things you have to be like a fancy pants channel guy for. But anyway, I'll put a video link in the description if I remember, but otherwise you'll have to search through the channel, and they are the first couple of videos that I ever made. So scroll all the way down in the videos and you shall find them. But let's have a look over at the lady in red, shall we?
Yes.
And there she is. So that's my receiver style, first generation Sidekick tracker bumper. Actually, I don't think they made trackers in a four-door version in the first gen, so Sidekick or Vitara if you're non-North American, I guess it would be. But this features the low profile grill tube with some light mounts on it. You can see there's a couple of light tabs back in there, and the 2-inch receiver for winch mounting, license plate mounting, or other mounting. There is a little bit of exposed radiator underneath there. Not a whole lot. I don't know if you can see that in the picture, but in fact, my radiator is raised up a little bit. I don't think it's the proper radiator. I think it's been replaced with something that shouldn't be there, so it would normally hang down a little lower into that gap. But there's a skid plate that I have designed for this, which is also available on the website if anybody wants one. And I've got one sitting over by the ladder here in the shop that's going to be mounted this week coming. Maybe I'll give you a little clip of that as well. But there's the skid plate. It has 2 holes in it so that you can run your hands up through these access ports to get to the back side of the receiver. My receiver is inset on my front bumpers just to make them have a cleaner look. And so you do have to reach in behind the bumper to get to the receiver pin. And that skid plate allows access to do that while still protecting the radiator and that cross member, which really honestly doesn't need a lot of protection. It's pretty robust on its own, but it's a 3/16 thick skid plate, so it will protect that in the event that you strike something on the trail. And then moving on to the rear bumper, this will have a swing away tire carrier on it. For now, the lady in red still sports her spare tire on the back door, but as you can see, there's a spindle installed. Right now I've got a protective cover on it, which was on there too tight for me to take off by hand, but that's just so that I don't bang up the spindle doing anything like taking the bumper on or off and putting this top plate on, which I'm about to add on Monday in a permanent fashion. Right now it's just sitting there. But again, that's kind of my typical rear bumper, receiver style, 2-inch receiver built into that, and it's got a ton of protection, as well as a great departure angle and clearance all around. I also have a fuel tank skid plate for these vehicles, which I may throw on there as well one day. That'd be kind of nice.
Underneath there like that?
Yeah, the stock skid plate is this kind of flimsy looking thing that has the tube work and then that little plate welded onto the tube work.
Right.
Whereas my fuel tank skid plates are like these ones in here. These are for a 2-door, but the 4-door one is very similar. So it's got the logo in the back, and then it's got some drain holes underneath, and it mounts to all the stock locations. So we might put one of those on as well.
I think so far the lady in red is looking absolutely magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
The transformation so far is quite remarkable.
It'd be nice to get her out on the trails. We need to put a transmission in this thing.
There's a lot to do yet.
There's a lot to do, and there's only so much time and so much money, and I am a poor fabricator, so I have to save up for that transmission. But eventually we will be on the trail, hopefully before wintertime. Would be great.
Yes.
And if not, then definitely before next summer.
Yes, and you guys will definitely be coming along. So yeah, it's an adventure so far.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I'm very much enjoying it.
Yeah. Stuff that I am currently working on or have recently built. 2 fuel tank skid plates for 1st gen 2-door sidekicks. 1 front skid plate for a 1st gen 2-door sidekick. There's 2 front skid plates for 1st gen 4-door sidekicks, the one here and the one that you saw out in the shop. Here we have a set of custom rock sliders for a Lexus GX 470 featuring my Venom rear kickouts with the little V design in them. These are a bolt-on design. As you can see there, double shear bolt-on. I always do my bolt-ons in double shear so that they are as solid as can be, and they're going to be bolted on with 1/2-inch grade 8 hardware, some of which has been welded to some rods and stuff because they're going to go inside of the frame. So in order to get them to the mounting position, you need a rod to assist in that. Maybe we'll show that on an actual build video one day. I've also got a 2nd gen front skid plate. I also have the Balmer swing out hitch. This is a receiver mounted hitch, which allows you to still tow with your, well, not with your original hitch, but it replaces the original hitch so you can still tow with the vehicle, and then you get a swing out with another hitch on it into which you can place a tire carrier, a cargo rack, a bike rack, or any other kind of receiver mounted item. It has a lockout on it as well, so that it locks the swing arm into position at 90 degrees, and then it can also be swung beyond that point if one wanted to. And it's got a nice heavy-duty draw latch on it. A good item for those who want to upgrade to a swing-out tire carrier, fuel can holder, cargo rack holder, bike rack holder, without actually going to a full custom bumper. What else do we have around here, my dear?
You have lots on the go.
I do have a lot
Pretty
on the
exciting.
go. Yeah, we have T-shirts, which I should actually put for sale on the website and maybe somehow on the YouTube channel if anybody wants one. I have to make another order for more, but we have T-shirts. Out in the shop here, we've got a first-gen Sidekick bumper. That is for a two-door, and that sports my high-profile grill tube with the headlight protectors. That's also a 2-inch receiver style, and the holes drilled in there are for tow bar mounts, because this is going to be flat-towed via that tow bar right there. The casters are for a different project that's going to be happening later with all this huge pile of steel under here. That's going to be from giant stands that I'm building for an industrial project. Here we've got a set of rock sliders for a two-door first-gen Sidekick that are ready for powder coat. On top of that giant stack of steel is the shell. This here is the shell of an Xterra rear bumper, and those are the brackets to mount it. And then you've got the spare tire mounting plate and the hinge, and I've got to cut up some other components. This one's going to have lights in it and the swing-out tire carrier. In the giant cardboard box is another bumper just like that one, only complete, powder coated, and ready for shipment to the customer. Only the customer decided he wanted to come pick it up in the end, so he'll be here in a few weeks to pick this up. On the table, we have unbuilt. These are something else. I should actually take those out of the way. Here we have unbuilt rear bumpers for first-gen two-door Sidekicks, and two different types of tow bar mounts. These are the ones for my tow bars, like you saw there, and these are custom mounts for a customer's tow bar, which is sitting right there. The tow bar in behind is the one that came on the lady in red, and is pretty beaten up and will be for sale for the bargain price of a 6-pack of beer. This is a front bumper for a two-door first gen, which I have to finish yet. These are custom skid plates for a 4th gen 4Runner, I think it is. No, 3rd gen 4Runner. Those are the last 2 skid plates. The first 2 are under there, so there's a front plate, an engine skid plate, transmission skid plate is underneath, and transfer case skid plate is on top. I think there's even more than that around here, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that it? Maybe that was it. Yeah, and the bumpers on the lady in red.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or going to somebody.
They're going to Gibson's. All this stuff for the two-door first gen is all going to Saskatchewan. This bumper here is going to Williams Lake, BC, the one in the box. These are going to be local, I think, and those are local. So it's cool.
Very cool.
The company started out selling stuff only locally, so it's kind of exciting to be shipping stuff not only across BC, but into the States and maybe across the world eventually.
Yeah.
Kind of neat.
It's very amazing
Yeah.
to be watching this happen.
10 years in the making.